Good evening and welcome to the RMB Radio News Report. We thank you for joining us this evening. Our broadcast is to 78 countries worldwide via satellite transmission and the internet. You can also check out our online newspaper, which is at www.rmbnewsreport. That's all one word. rmbnewsreport.com. I am your host, Randall Bundy, and I try to cover topics such as UFOs, aliens, extraterrestrial activity, and the paranormal. And we also touch a bit on just generally unusual events which are going on throughout the world. Sometimes we do cover events pertaining to regular world news and politics. And by doing so, I usually end up offending someone or pissing off a lot of people. But I always convey my honest and well-formed opinion and will never apologize for the exercise of freedom of speech. We'll be back in just a few moments and continue with this evening's program, and I thank you for joining us. Welcome back. This is Randall Bundy, RMB Radio News Report. Tonight's show, I want to try to stay away from politics as much as possible, but given me and my political views, that may or may not occur. What I want to do is to talk about the events that are going on in the world pertaining to the alleged end of the world, which is due to occur on December 21st, which is just a few days away, and talk about various effects that this is having on the world at large. But since this program is relatively new, I want to give you an idea that, first off, I am not a professionally trained and educated radio talk show host. I have very little knowledge in broadcasting, but I do have a lot of opinions. So if from time to time there are some errors in broadcasting made, I trust that you will keep in mind that I'm just like you and anybody else with an opinion. I started out by having my own YouTube broadcasts. And it was just a way to vent my opinion pertaining to political matters, and I also touched a lot on UFO activity which was going on. Shortly thereafter, I also started an online newspaper, which is still the RMB News Report. So I stumbled upon all this really simply because I am interested in UFO activity, the paranormal activity that is going on worldwide, and I wanted to join in on that activity. So one thing led to another, and the next thing you know, my YouTube broadcasts are receiving about 500,000 viewers. So with the kind efforts of my producer and international coordinator, this broadcast has occurred, and I am very grateful to them. So I do want to thank my producer, who is Landra McFarlane out of New York, and the international coordinator is Mary Lynn Cohen, who is out of London. And I'm very grateful for them for putting all this together. If not, I'd just be somebody talking on YouTube. So I'm very grateful to them. And tonight's subjects that I want to talk about briefly, something that is in the news, is the French actor, a very good French actor, Gerard Depardieu, if I'm pronouncing that correct. And Gerard Depardieu is France's one of France's most famous actors of the modern era, and he is a, as you may or may not know, France is a socialist country, and they really are persecuting those who are successful in their society and make a lot of money. And give you an example, Gerard Depardieu has chosen to leave France and become a resident of Belgium simply because in France they were charging him 85% of his income. They were taxing him 85% of his income, and it just seems that eventually societies in Europe and also in the United States and Canada will finally come to realize that you don't encourage success and hard work by penalizing those who have achieved through hard work and success. And that's what is happening. And it's also occurring in Switzerland, in Sweden. I have a friend of mine that I went to university with who is a doctor in Sweden, and she tells me that she's paying 75% of her income is going toward taxes. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, why go to medical school for 12 years and residency only to be making the same amount of money as a fellow who is a grill cook in a restaurant? It just does not seem to make a lot of sense. Eventually, I'm hoping that society will come to realize that if you want a successful country and you want people to put forth an effort, then when they do and they create things that our society needs, then you don't penalize them and persecute them in the media and take 85% of their income. It just does not make sense. So I thoroughly understand why Gerard Depardieu has chosen to leave France. So I'm hoping that that's all that I will discuss tonight pertaining to politics, because in the Russia as well as in China, there seems to be a panic going on with people concerned with the Mayan calendar, which is due to end on the 21st of December, and a lot of this is causing a lot of concern. And I wanted to put forth my opinion, which is mainly that I do not necessarily believe, based upon a primitive society such as the Mayans, that the world is going to end in 2 days simply because that's when their calendar ended. I don't see any signs. When I look up in the sky, I don't see Nibiru coming close to the planet. And you also have to keep in mind that the Mayan civilization back then, although in some aspects it may very well have been an advanced civilization, we still do not understand what caused their downfall. Since they were an agricultural society, did they deplete the natural resources in the surrounding farmland, so that their land was no longer able to produce crops? We know that from modern science and technology that if you do not replenish the nutrients in the soil, that eventually you will have sterile soil that is incapable of producing crops. So this is why farmers of today will alternate and rotate crops so that they are replacing the nutrients back into the soil. It could very well be that is what caused the downfall of the Mayan society. So in some respects they were very advanced in some regard, but I don't see how they could see ahead 5,000 years into the future and say that on this particular date the planet is going to end. And then we have a matter that over the years the calendar has been changed and altered, so we really don't know what date they were hinting at and why it just suddenly ended. But if I'm wrong, we'll all if I'm right, we will all wake up on the 22nd, Saturday, and we'll look out around us and everything will still be the same, except we'll still be stuck with Obama in the White House and socialists in government, and Greece will still renege on its debts, and most European countries will still be socialist and won't have a clue how to solve their immediate problems. We'll take this break, and I'll be back in just a few minutes.